And also, good morning to the Honorable Deputy Minister, the Chair of the Board of the Road Accident Fund, as well as your colleagues that are here. I think one or two I may be seeing for the first time, but I'm certain that you will do the introductions at the right time. I just want to register a complaint that humans are creatures of habit, and there is an order that has crystallized over time of how the members sit. And typically, even if I'm not looking, if I see like a hand, I will know that it's a Honorable so-and-so because they typically sit on that chair. I notice Honorable Burke and Honorable Atkinson are trying to confuse me in these proceedings by sitting at a different spot. I did ask Denzel to check the rules of Parliament to see if they are allowed to do that, and he told me I have no leg to stand on.
Chair, it's called expropriation without compensation.
I shall not make an issue. The only thing I will request, Honorable Burke, is that at least you wear the right color if you're sitting on that chair, because typically the person who sits there wears red. But I will forgive you on account of the tie that you are wearing. It comes close enough. But thank you very much, colleagues. I am sorry that we started a little late. It was entirely my fault. Otherwise, we like to start on time. I also want to say, Honorable Deputy Minister and your colleagues from the Road Accident Fund, I recognize that trekking from Pretoria or wherever you're situated to come here to be early in the morning, some of you, it may have meant taking the 5:45 flight. So we take none of that for granted. And also for those who are board members, that in the ordinary course, you've got other things that you do. And that you're not always ready at the drop of a hat to come and be in Parliament. So we really appreciate that you'd make the time and set aside your other commitments to be here. So please, I just want you to receive my appreciation on behalf of the committee that you have done so. So today's proceedings, I'm hoping that we should be done long before 5 o'clock. Long before 1 o'clock, because we're not dealing with the full spectrum of the audit outcomes as we did before. We're dealing with outstanding and arising matters, really. So I'm hoping that we'll have a concise conversation and then proceed from there. I just want to say that, and this is for the members, but also for your assurance, the Honorable Deputy Minister and the board chair and your colleagues, that we are quite cognizant that some of the matters we will speak to here relate to an ongoing investigation. We will take the necessary care that we do not discuss details which may or ask for information that may compromise that investigation. This meeting is no different to the meeting we had yesterday. We had the National Lotteries Commission here yesterday. They also have an ongoing and sprawling investigation, which I think is wider in scope than that of the Road Accident Fund and may take years. Notwithstanding, we managed to have a constructive conversation and stay within certain parameters. So there may be instances, members, where I then, depending on what the question is, honorable members, I may guide the Deputy Minister and the Road Accident Fund to answer it in a particular way or not to answer at all if I believe that it may compromise the investigation, because it's important that we maintain the integrity thereof, one, and secondly, we also don't prejudice anyone, because an investigation is an investigation. It's not a pronouncement of guilt or innocence. That said, the reason we are here fundamentally is because the update that we received from the Special Investigating Unit touched on matters that we had canvassed as the committee before. And in that sense, it would be imprudent of us not to continue that discussion in light of the information provided to the committee by the Special Investigating Unit. But as I said just now, we still have to do that in a manner that is responsible and does not place anyone or institution at undue risk. So I will take the due care to do that. I will give you, Honorable Deputy Minister, an opportunity to make some opening remarks, as well as as well as the board chair, and then you favored us with a presentation, which I really appreciate. Thank you very much for that. My view is that we need to go through the presentation. It's relatively short. I may, during the, it's actually very short. We had a 60-slide presentation being sent to us the other day. So what I will do during the presentation, if necessary, I may ask some questions of clarification as I do. This is to enable the members to then ask the questions within context and that sort of thing. As I always do, please, in instances where there are acronyms, just be mindful because the public watches, sometimes the acronyms are the same across departments and entities. So it always helps if somebody just explains what it means or says it in full. It also helps the record taking here so that we don't confuse institutions. But thank you very much. Honorable Deputy Minister, let me hand over to you.
Thank you very much, Chairperson, Honorable Chair, and honorable members of the Standing Committee on Public Accounts. It's always good to be here in one way or the other. Chair, and I want to say that as you can see in the presentation, the color scheme, my tie is certainly not a RAF tie. It's a result of coincidence. But Chair, thank you very much for the opportunity to actually be here this morning, and we appreciate the opportunity to come and appear before Parliament to account. I would like to indicate that we have got the acting DDG, DG of the department, Matawata behind me, and for the purposes of context, the DG of the department tendered his resignation at the end of February, and so Baba is actually currently acting, and we have advertised the post. So I know that members don't like acting people, but this is a recent development. Also, the chairperson of the board, Umam Franch, was next to me, and the deputy chair of the board, Dr. Mabuya, is here, and there are other board members and executives. Chair, I had ordinarily prepared one or two things to say to the committee this morning. However, I think I must start on the latest developments, which will place in context maybe anew how we are appearing this morning. And the board will explain further on some of the issues. Chairperson, last night I was advised by the board of the Road Accident Fund that at a meeting held on the 27th of May, the board had resolved in the exercise of its fiduciary responsibilities and duties in terms of the Road Accident Fund Act and the PFMA and King principles to place on special leave with full pay and benefits effective immediately the CEO of the Road Accident Fund. The board further advises that this is a precautionary measure and does not constitute disciplinary action. This decision is made in accordance with the board's responsibility to manage and control the fund as provided for in Section 10 of the Road Accident Fund Act and the accounting authority for the fund in terms of Section 49 of the PFMA. Further, this decision is taken solely in the interest of good governance and is a precautionary step to facilitate ongoing investigative processes. It does not imply any prejudgment or adverse finding against the CEO. The special leave arrangement will remain in place until the conclusion of the relevant investigations by the Special Investigations Unit or such earlier date as the board may determine. The board will review the situation on a monthly basis and communicate any updates. In this regard, during this period, Mr. Pat Lukareni, who is here, if he can just raise his hand, will serve as the acting CEO to ensure the continuity of operations. So, Chair, I thought I should start there because I believe that that places in context anew our engagement. And then to secondly indicate that as the shareholder, the ministry, this is a decision we support that the board has taken and believe that it is in the collective interests of the investigation, particularly in its final stages. As you are aware, you are in possession of a preliminary report of the SIU on RAF matters. The second point I would like to raise, Chairperson, is that at this stage, or up to now, we as the ministry and the department have not been briefed or appraised by the SIU on any of the matters of the investigations. We have not had opportunity to engage the SIU either on the matters, and therefore we do not have the benefit of the committee's perspective on matters which may be before it. Are we aware that there's an investigation going on? Yes, we are. But in terms of where that investigation is, in terms of whether there are any outcomes, all we have, Chairperson, is what you have, what we have in the public domain, rather, that there have been certain processes or issues and so on. However, that said, Chair, it remains our expectation as the ministry that the Road Accident Fund at board level and at executive level cooperates with the investigation until it reaches its logical conclusion, and for us then to receive the recommendations and outcomes of that investigation. However, I do believe that the board would have applied its mind in the matters before it, and in the matters before this committee, and in the matters before the SIU, to arrive at the decisions that they've arrived at. Furthermore, Chairperson, obviously there is a presentation to the committee, a report which seeks to answer some of the questions that had been placed before the board and RAF ahead of this meeting. I do want to, Chair, indicate that there may have been some toing and froing in terms of our presentations and communication and submission. It is my understanding, having discussed this with RAF, that it was in the context of trying to understand exactly the parameters of what it is that was required of the RAF in appearing before the committee this morning, but the board will further explain should the need arise. Chair, we obviously as a ministry remain concerned about the situation at RAF on a number of fronts, particularly to ensure that RAF is able to fulfill its obligations. These are issues around revenue generation, which I've ventilated here before. We have also indicated that there is a legislative review process which is underway, and we will be meeting with the board in June to, amongst others, deliberate on the bill which will be going to cabinet and coming to parliament, which seeks to review and reform the road accident fund so that it is able to move forward. There's issues, Chair, quite clearly, as you can see, which are before us around the leadership of RAF. In conclusion, Chair, I think it may be prudent in light of this decision to place on the record of the committee that the term of office of the CEO is due to end in August. It has been our counsel and advice to the board that the position ordinarily should be advertised for purposes of soliciting candidates, and in the event that the CEO, current CEO, would want to continue in the position, that he too should apply. I thought, Chair, I should place that now on the record in light of this decision, so that in the event that that is heard or it comes out, it is not seen in the context of this decision. We have communicated this directive or outlook prior to these developments well in advance for the purposes of due planning and governance and stability at the Road Accident Fund. Chair, with those remarks, I want to thank you once again for affording us an opportunity to appear before the committee, and through you, may I request the chairperson of the board to make remarks, and then, Chair, we will be in your very capable and friendly hands as the committee. Thank you, Chair.